What the heck was Dylan Mortensen doing all night, the night of November 13th, 2022? Some new phone records have just been released, tons and tons of them. We're going to try and make sense of it all. I'm attorney Andrew Myers with Yolie, Medina, and we have some special guests this episode, the custody queens and Ron. This is About the Law. Again, I'm Andrew Myers with co-host Yolie Medina in California. Yolie, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am well, and we are doing a collaboration that we have been hoping to do for quite a while. I don't know why it took us so long, but we have the custody queens and Ron to help us decipher Dylan Mortensen's overnight phone records from that night. Folks, could you introduce yourselves, please?
Well, I'll introduce the custody queen. We've got Kristen Holstrom and Sam McBride. I've worked with both of them for 10 years. They're fantastic family law attorneys, and we now get to do these podcasting things together. They're both outstanding trial attorneys, family law attorneys, and I'm grateful to be working with them.
Thank you, Ron. And I will introduce you. Ron is our Ron. He's one of our favorite people in the world. Ron is a certified family law specialist in California. He's also dual certified and is a California appellate specialist. He has some civil background, and he's a lot of fun to hang out with. So we're very happy. Thank you for having us today. We're excited to get into this. And I don't know what Dylan was doing, but something.
She wasn't sleeping.
Kristen, what about yourself? Kristen, what about yourself?
I, along with those two, am a certified family law specialist, a mom of three. And I don't know, somewhere about 7 months ago, I asked Sam if she would go on this crazy true crime evidence, stalking podcast journey with me. And like she always does, she blindly followed me. And I don't know that she knew what she was getting herself into. But you, Andrew, were one of the first attorneys that I started following.
Thank you.
It was wild to me how little attorneys were actually speaking on the opposite side of the spectrum in this case. You had all of the mainstream networks, relaying the same storyline we heard for years, but any attorney would have red flags in their head looking at this stuff. And it was I felt like we needed more of us to talk about it.
That's how I feel. I feel like, am I the only one that is noticing this? I'd be like, everybody else, all the mainstream media and other people, they're just going along with the narrative. But when you really look at the documents, and I haven't looked at all the documents, but just the ones that I have, there are things there are holes in this case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I do mostly civil law. I have been a true crime reader, and I'm going to tip my hand as to my age, since the days of Charles Manson. I read not all, but most of Ann Rule's books. So I've been a true crime reader for years. But for whatever reason that I really can't explain, I'm a civil litigator. I've always been a civil litigator. I don't do family law. I did earlier in my practice, but I don't anymore. I do no family law. I do mostly civil litigation, which would include, boundary disputes, adverse possession, personal injury, and I do bankruptcies. So when I started doing this podcast, people laugh at me. I started doing civil law because I said, there's too many true crimers out there. There's just no way to compete with them all. So I started doing civil law, and my former co-host Lainey could tell you, we would spend hours and hours and hours actually doing production work for one civil law subject. And we'd be lucky to get 500 viewers. And so I got advice from actually some musicians who I know said, Andy, people don't care about that stuff. They care about true crime. And after they told me that several times, I listened and switched over to true crime. So here we are. But it's not as though I haven't followed it for years. And I did do a fair amount of criminal defense earlier in my career. But what makes three attorneys who do family law decide to go into the true crime avenue?
Well, I think Kristen really spearheaded this. I can't speak for Ron, but I'm sure it's true that we have kind of always been a little bit of crime junkies. So Kristen and I would spend a lot of time in our office. She'd come in and be telling me about case after case or documentaries that we were basically finding any excuse to not talk about family law for a second, because our office can be very Jerry Springer at times. We've seen it all. And Kristen really got into the Idaho 4 case, and she'd come in my office pretty much every day, kind of struggling with a new issue and telling me, Sam, this isn't right. And then one day she came in and said, we're starting a podcast, and I do what I do best, which is tell yes to Kristen. And so here we are.
Well, I'm a true crime buff myself. I have a whole bunch of true crime books that I've read. And before I got into medical malpractice, like for many years, I worked at suing public entities and public employees. And usually it was arising out of a criminal act, kind of like the WSU lawsuit that the families filed against WSU, the Idaho 4 families. So I did a lot of that. So there was always some criminal element to it. But then I moved on to malpractice, and I love medical malpractice. I just love it because it's easy for me. I just have an expert. They tell me what to do. I do the deposition. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? It's just standard of care, breach, it's your expert that is the one that's going to win the case. So.
Absolutely. I've done a little bit of medical malpractice and dental malpractice, which I found out nobody will do. But I've had a couple of cases of taken them all the way successfully to the conclusion. Why don't we jump into Dylan Mortensen's phone activity? And what we're looking at now, and Yolie, as you always do, tell me if I'm not getting stuff on the screen like it should. This is a document that was filed in the court and attached are Dylan Mortensen's phone records, which were kept private until very, very, very recently. So, we'll start with the first one. I'll just say what it is, and then people tell me what you think about it. This is a telephone call from Dylan Mortensen to Eric Gower at 2:10 a.m. Is that right? Saying, are you driving tonight by chance?
Yeah, I think she's actually texting him, and that's Eric Gower. He's actually an Uber driver, but that night he was off the clock per se, and he was allegedly driving University of Idaho students around that night, specifically Maddie and Kaylee.
So she's reaching out to him at 2:10. I thought she was home by then. No,
she was home.
Right, so. Yeah, Dylan was home, and Eric Gower had just dropped them off just before 1, like around 1:56 or something like that. So Gower dropped off Maddie and Kaylee just before 2, and then Dylan is texting Eric Gower at 2:10.
What the heck could she have wanted at that point?
Well, he responds to her. I think he says he is, but then there's nothing.
So if you actually notice, she doesn't even read Eric's response until after 4 a.m.
Right.
It's more than 2 hours later.
Yeah, that's for this is not necessarily in that order, but then the next document we have here is a page of this is Snapchats? No.
Peekaboo? It's a peekaboo there.
No, what Peekaboo is this is Snapchat.
Peekaboo, before they changed their name.
Toyopa is the company that founded Peekaboo, and then Peekaboo changed its name to Snapchat. So these are Snapchats.
Okay.
Starting at 2/11/17. I don't know, folks. Can we read anything into these that they're at 2/11/17, 2/11/32, 2/11/38, 2/11/39? So she's very active on Snapchat at 2/12/02, 2/12/08, 2/12/09. So, within a period of a minute, she's doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Well, and it's an interaction with somebody because there's incoming and outgoing.
Yeah. She's actively texting someone on Snapchat. And I'm wondering, and we don't know who it is, but since she had just had that telephone text conversation with, or she sent him the message, I wonder if it's Eric Gower, but we have no way of knowing, right?
Or did we know about that message to Eric Gower before? Because that seemed to surprise me. We did know that she had texted him at 2.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, we've known about that for a long time.
Yeah,
okay.
It's
but
hard
what's
to remember
interesting about that. Sorry, Yolie.
No, I just said it's hard to remember everything, but go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just say what's interesting about that message though is why would you ask someone if they're driving and then 30 seconds later you don't. I mean, she doesn't respond. She doesn't even read the message for almost 2 hours. I think the exact time is. So was it a scripted text message? Was she really inquiring on whether or not he was driving? Did she want to go somewhere? There's that theory that she was trying to get everybody to go back to the Grubhub truck. It just seems odd to me, but she wasn't sleeping. I'll tell you that.
Of course, no, she was not in her. She was not in her frozen shock phase. No, she wasn't. No, she was not sleeping. Okay, so then.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Wasn't there a video that someone suggested that at some point in the morning, right before the police arrived, or as they were arriving, that she came to the property, that she had been off it? Do we know if that was Gower's vehicle that was seen in that? Chris and Sam, do you remember seeing that?
I do not, off the top of my head. No, I don't think
there was a video of Dylan coming home. I think that the confusion was Bethany. Wasn't Bethany looked like Bethany? It looked like she.
Yeah, it was Bethany.
Yeah, Bethany looked like she had been dropped off, but I don't know that for sure. I didn't. The video didn't show her physically being dropped off.
So I think. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Ron. Go ahead.
What kind of car did Eric Gower drive?
Prius. Oh. He drove the Prius.
Okay.
And it was like a dark gray.
Remember from the crime scene photos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this text right here clears up the question that these are not Snapchats between Dylan and Eric Gower, because Dylan's initial query by text to Eric Gower was way back at 2:10:30. Then Eric Gower's response is right here. It doesn't come, as you pointed out, I think, Sam, I'm not sure, didn't come until 4:29 in the morning, and he says, I am Eric.
Well, that's when
when she read it. Yeah, he responds like 3 minutes after she sends it.
That's when she read it.
Oh, where does it say he responded 3 minutes after? Where does it say that?
It should be under delivered.
Oh, I see. Okay, now I see. I wasn't reading this right. It says, forgive me, read 4:29. Okay, I got it. Got it.
If you go up, it should say, scroll down a little bit.
It says delivered.
Maybe I just heard that he had responded, but that may not be verified looking at this now.
These are hard to read. I'm glad we have 5 pairs of eyes trying to figure this out. But that's kind of strange that she didn't even read that until later on. Okay, so now the next set of contacts. I'm not sure what this is.
The contact?
This is the contact that she entered at 3:51 in the morning, and people speculated that it could have been Molly, the driver, the DoorDash driver. But remember the whole thing?
Who's Brittany Fernandez?
Well, it says Brittany Fernandez, and I think there's a Z missing. But, I don't know.
Okay, so who's Brittany Fernandez?
Right.
So, there's a lot of people that have done their investigative work online. I personally think it's quite likely a fake name. Put in at 3:51. But I don't know if you guys noticed, it was going around TikTok specifically yesterday, is that if you Googled or you put Brittany Fernandez into Meta AI, it came up with this information that she went to University of Idaho. She allegedly was either in a relationship or Brian Coberger's fiance. And she was involved in a high profile murder case or some high profile case as I think a witness in 2016, which I think this whole persona is potentially just completely fabricated and made up.
But wouldn't we have heard that Brian Coberger had a fiance? Wouldn't we have heard that before now?
That's what I said, let alone a girlfriend, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I think that's a really good potential. What I also think is interesting is just going back real quick to the text before when she read it. It's a short text that says "I am." So to me, that
okay, so there's that. Yeah, that's his text.
the red part of it to me is like, is that really though just when she opened it would be when the phone would show that it was red, and so that's when it would timestamp it, because she was clearly actively on her phone just prior to that and had already, when she's creating that contact, and had just decided however many hours later to actually open it. So it seems like she would have, you know, when you receive a text and if you have your read receipts on, you can still see normally most of what it says until you click on it. So I wonder if she really read it immediately right after he had sent that, and just it took her X amount of hours to open it.
Yeah, that's a good point. My wife gets on me sometimes when she sees my phone. She says, why don't you read your text? I'm like, I do. It's just right there.
Yeah.
I haven't
opened it. Yeah.
Yeah. But the funny thing is it's 4:29 that morning, and we know that under the law enforcement's timeline, that's, you know, kind of just after everything happened. After everything happened.
Yep.
Okay, so what's next? We have this.
And wasn't she supposed to be asleep at that time?
Yeah, but according to who? The probable cause affidavit? Yeah, right.
Well, and I think it would be really interesting to I mean, I've gone through her interviews so many times now, but her interviews where she's, you know, very actively, she's sleep texting apparently throughout the entire morning.
Well, was she sleeping or was she in a frozen shock phase?
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't know.
Or was she dreaming?
She doesn't know, and she continues to tell you that.
So is this phone call? Is this a phone call from Bethany at 4:19:07 for 23 minutes, seconds?
Yes.
Is that what that is?
Oh, is that 23 seconds?
23 seconds.
Yes,
Yeah.
23 seconds.
Yeah.
But back to Brittany really quick. You guys should all do your own research, because there were a handful of Brittany Fernandez that lived in the Idaho area. Of course, it's somewhat of a not a super rare name, but it is very interesting with what the algorithm is attempting to tell us who she is. So I encourage everybody to go do it on their own and see what wild conclusions everybody gets.
Why don't we ask our viewers right now, your viewers as well as our viewers, to do their own? That's a good idea. Do your own research. Who is Brittany Fernandez or Brittany Fernandez? And tell us down below who she is and what you've learned, and we'll do comments on that in the next episode.
Could that be who the Snapchats were with? Because she's adding a contact. I do that like when I get a call or something from someone and I want to add them on my contacts. I just push a few buttons.
But we know
it's
her
easier.
name, Ron.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
okay,
we know that girl's name. I forget it, but you know, Yolie, the one he's talking about, the one that she's doing in front of the Good Vibes sign at 2 or 3 in the morning, and she's posing, and it went on other platforms.
Yeah,
her name has been released a long time ago.
Yeah, that was
not.
Name?
Yeah, I'm sure. I know somebody going through the comments will be able to tell us.
Yeah, it's not Brittany Fernandez.
No, it's not Brittany Fernandez. But what do you guys think? I think the most fishy thing about that Brittany Fernandez is why the heck isn't it redacted? Why the heck did they just leave that wide open for everybody to go down a rabbit hole?
Well, you know, the one thing I don't even understand why this was sealed. Okay, because you know, if you want to prevent speculation, just put it out there. This way, you could have avoided all the Molly speculation that contact was Molly and this and that, and then you know, if you just put her name there, Brittany Fernandez, what are they worried that this Brittany Fernandez is going to get harassed? I mean, that's what they talk about. They talk about people getting harassed, but you never hear anything that comes out of it. Like so-and-so was caught, you know, like there was some people who texted the Goncalves in the middle of their, when they were giving their victim impact statements, they were threatening them. And we never heard anything about that. Was somebody caught? Was somebody, you know, I mean, this is phone technology. They could catch these people and nothing becomes of it. So I don't understand why they just would not have just released all of this and have it just public, because you're right. I mean, why release it now? Why, you know, is it to protect Dylan because everybody thinks it was Molly, the DoorDash driver?
Because they've been fighting over all this, redacting and sealing and unsealing, and they've actually released stuff, and then, oops, we made a mistake and unsealed it, and maybe this is a mistake, and they'll redact it again. I mean, it just seems random. It seems like the attorneys and the judge have just moved on to other things, and they're only kind of half paying attention to this whole process. So, Yolie, I respect everything you just said, but I think you're reading too much into it. I think it's just random that they do and they don't at this point release stuff. I don't know. So what are we looking at? I'm sorry, Ron, what'd you say?
So maybe specific FOIA requests. I don't know how this one came about.
Andrew, go up really quick to her name.
Hang on. Oops. Here we go.
I just think that I think it's very interesting that they did not specifically redact at least part of her name on this document that was released to the public. I mean, they redact Bethany's name in the next one right down below. Like, it just wild to me that they just left Brittany Fernandez completely wide open like that.
Maybe it's because it is fake and they know it's fake. I mean, I don't know.
That's kind of something I thought about as well.
I mean, who knows? This whole thing is a mystery. This whole case is a mystery, and this doesn't really answer any questions. I'm going to ask you all at the very end if this really answered any questions. But okay, so here's Dylan's phone activity that night, and we go to 4:20 in the morning. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is Dylan actually making an outgoing telephone call to Xana at that time, and it lasts 0 seconds. And then...
Or the text.
That's a call, not a text?
I think so. I don't know.
It says
if it were a text, wouldn't we know what she said? Mm-hmm. And then 20 seconds later at 4:20, Dylan is calling Kaylee.
Is that what it would be if it just rang and didn't nobody answered?
That's what I was thinking, Ron. Yeah. But I'm not sure.
And then here's another call very shortly after that. I mean, these calls all come very shortly together. 4:20, 4:20, 4:20:28 to Bethany, and then 4:21:50 to Maddie, all at 4:21 and X number of seconds. And so, okay, so now this is Dylan texting downstairs to Bethany at 4:22:08 after she just made all those calls. No one is answering.
I have one little point to make about those past calls, and I'm no phone expert at all, but I wonder if it really is true that if you call someone for a particular amount of time, that there's no that it says it's for 0 minutes, because my understanding is that it would say a couple seconds even if they didn't answer. And so my question is it possible that you're calling and immediately hanging it up before there's any time because those people aren't going to answer?
Well, I think I heard someone else, I don't know the answer, but I heard someone else say that they thought that Dylan made those calls just so she could later on say that she made them. So in other words, she called. Oh, I called them in the middle of the night. And maybe not realizing that anybody would actually scrutinize your phone records as the five of us are right now. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the answer to your question. I really don't. But
we'll have to test that out, Sam. After this, I'll call you and I'll let it ring a couple times and then I'll hang it up and we'll see if we can check the meta.
All right. Look at us out in the field, Kristen.
Boots on the ground.
So here we are at 4:22:08. Dylan texts Bethany. No one is answering. Then Dylan texts Bethany at 4:22. I'm really confused. M.
Right now.
All right.
Oh, right now. Okay. All right. I know the lingo.
Yeah.
And
it's not lost on us. We're not that much of dinosaurs. Now, my parents would have trouble.
I always have 20-somethings interns and helpers to help me with all this stuff. And then at 4:22, that's the secret. Then at 4:22:42, we have Dylan texting Kaylee. Then at 4:22:43, Dylan to Kaylee. What's going on?
So clearly she's hearing something.
Then from Bethany to Dylan at 4:23. Yeah, dude, WTF. And we all know what that means. Mm-hmm. I don't know if YouTube likes us saying those words, but many people.
You must not know them.
we all know what the word. And so then this is weird. 423:28. Just after these other texts, 423:28, we've got Bethany texting Dylan. Xana was wearing all black.
That's bizarre to
Well,
me.
you know,
Here's my
Seen it.
okay, go ahead.
So I don't think we can forget about the fact that above that, she talked to her on the phone. So couldn't it have been that they're referencing something that they were chatting about on the phone? And that's kind of a follow-up from that?
That's logical.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at what point was Xana wearing all black? When she came home from the frat party or after the perpetrator left? Because after the perpetrator left, if she noticed what Xana was wearing, she would have also noticed that she was covered in blood.
And she wasn't wearing pants.
No doubt. I'm just wondering, if she's calling Bethany going, someone's wearing black. And then Bethany's like, Xana is.
Could it be that she saw someone wearing black out there and asked who could it be?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I was
talking
thinking.
about that.
I was thinking that when I first read this, my first impression was, what? I think that the conversation, and this is complete speculation, but we don't have anything else to go on. But if they were talking about, if she was talking, Dylan was talking about a man wearing black or somebody wearing black with a balaclava.
Yeah.
And she was talking to Bethany about that. And then Bethany responds with, Xana was wearing all black.
Mhm.
Like, are you sure you're not seeing Xana?
Yeah.
Are you sure it's not Xana?
Right.
Does that also make you guys infer that there was potentially a woman or a girl that was seen?
Yeah,
Hard
because she
to say.
described this person as being 6 foot tall with bushy eyebrows. I mean, that doesn't sound like Xana to me.
But why? Yeah, no, the only thing I'm thinking, because there's been those rumors that there was a female, and Molly says that she saw a girl inside the house on the second story with all, I think it was black hair and a ponytail.
Yeah.
Well, that's Molly. Okay, so now we go to that. Well, I'm sorry.
That
I don't.
explains it all, Andrew.
I don't give Molly a whole lot of credence. I really don't, because she had a motivation to kind of help.
And
the
she also
prosecution.
said that girl was like on a swing or something, like swinging back and forth.
So now at 4:23:33, Dylan is texting Bethany. I'm freaking out right now. See, I learned right now. I'm freaking out right now. 4:23. And then 4:23:42, Dylan to Bethany. No, it's like ski mask almost. So she must have seen allegedly
That's what I
the
was gonna say.
perpetrator, allegedly Mr. Coberger. 4:23.
Yolie and Sam, they must be talking on the phone in between, because
Yeah.
why those conversations the text messages aren't aligning up unless they're having conversation as well.
And then Bethany's response to that at 4:23:48 is STFU. And we all know what that means, right?
Mhm.
Shut the F
Shut
up.
the up.
And then at 4:23:52, Bethany to Dylan, actually what?
Yeah.
And
I think that's
then,
kind of like lingo.
Yeah.
and then, actually is one of those words that's just way overused right now. It's just way overused. So here's Dylan to Bethany at 4:23:52, like he had something over his head a little.
His
And
forehead.
I'm trying to figure out what this says. I'm
And-
going over what
and
looked like
mouth, maybe?
typos, but like he had something over his
Head and mouth.
and mouth.
Well, his forehead, not just so
Oh,
she's
forehead.
specifying the
Oh, there you
forehead,
go,
I
Ron.
think.
Okay, thank you.
A little over his forehead, a little, and mouth. So like this
Yeah.
is what I'm envisioning from that.
I was just in a ski shop the other day and I saw ski masks. I mean, when it's 2 degrees in New Hampshire and you go skiing on top of a windy mountain, you got to have a ski mask. But they aren't black. They're in bright colors. They're bright fuchsia and orange and okay, I'll move on. You guys are all from
But
California.
with that, really quick, do you remember when she said in one of her interviews, or I'm not even going to call it an interrogation, but one of her investigative interviews, she refers back to these text messages about her misspellings and says, you could see how drunk I was by looking at my text messages. I can't even spell. Something along those lines.
Yes, I do remember.
That sounds like a rationalization after the fact.
I agree, Ron. I totally agree.
So then we go to 424, Dylan to Bethany. Bethany, I'm not kidding. Oh, I'm so freaked out. Okay, and then we have Bethany to Dylan. Bethany to Dylan at 424. So am I, referring to freaked out. And then at 424:11, Bethany, my phone is going to die. F-U-C-K. Okay, all right.
Yeah, doesn't she have a charge? Like, you would think that if she was at home, she
in her room.
Yeah, she would have her phone charged. I mean, that's what most people do.
I heard another commenter say that they actually, in those pictures that we looked at a couple of weeks ago, the 2,000, 3,000 pictures, she had 2 chargers in her room in one of the pictures. So why is her phone running out? But anyhow, I digress. At 424:14, Bethany says to Dylan, come to my room. I kind of thought this interchange was interesting. Then at 424:56, Bethany responds, run. And then down here at 424:56. And then, oops, I skipped something.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go back up to that. But then just to finish this colloquy or whatever it is, 424:59, Dylan says to Bethany, I'm screwed though. So what did I miss here?
Scared. That's a big dispute, isn't it?
What is this?
Yeah.
This is 424:39.
She's calling Ethan, right?
Yeah.
So that's a call.
Well, you see, that has 12 seconds on it.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So
Dylan
maybe
is
she let that one ring. That's a great point, Yolie.
yeah.
But 12 seconds isn't very long. I mean, I was always taught to let the phone ring like what, 5-6 times. And that's longer than 12 seconds, isn't it?
I think the point is that the message or the calls before to Kaylee and Maddie, it had zero
seconds.
Okay.
He's one. Right. I mean, unless he answered, this would suggest that when she called someone that didn't answer, it still indicated in a phone log that there was a couple of seconds that passed. So maybe she spent more time trying to call instead of like call, hang up kind of thing.
Okay. So Dylan says to Bethany after Bethany invites her down, I'm screwed though. Okay. And then
Ron,
when
you put that in your phone, didn't it try to change it to scared?
Yeah. Yeah, it did actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she talked about that in her statement that she was that I'm scared. Though.
Yeah, I tried to text that to Kristen and I typed it in just like that, but my phone changed it to scared.
Interesting. Autocorrect.
So okay, so if it autocorrected on the phone, and I guess we don't know what kind of phone Dylan had it. I don't know.
I think she had an iPhone. I think she had an iPhone because don't iPhones
it says iCloud right there.
They have the iCloud.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure. And there's some other stuff that leads me to indicate that later on. But anyhow.
So she didn't have autocorrect on her phone then?
Or she was intentionally writing it like that.
SCRWD. What the hell would that mean?
Screwed. I'm screwed.
Okay, we're going around in circles here.
I looked at the keyboard too, and I said, okay, if she was trying to type scared, could she reasonably type those letters? And I don't know.
I think she was drunk or something. So then we go to 426:21, Bethany to Dylan. Yeah, I know, but it's better than being alone.
Well, that statement right there, it's better than being alone. I wish, there would have been some kind of interrogation or interview that would ask, why did you text that? Was she alone? Was there nobody else? And did you believe that there was nobody else in the house?
I think the context is Bethany's trying to get Dylan to come downstairs. Dylan says, I'm scared or screwed or whatever. And then Bethany says, well, it's better than being alone. Come on down with me. I think that's what that means. I don't know.
Better than being alone in your room.
So but when she does go down there, she had there's so many opportunities that she could have left the house if she was truly in that much fear and she was that scared. There was a lot of opportunities based on this evidence that she could have left the house.
But I think
she's scared. I'm sorry, Ron, go ahead.
In the context of those messages, to me, scared makes more sense than screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree. I don't know what I'm looking at here.
Room, doesn't she go right past the front door to get out?
Yeah.
Doesn't she goes down the stairs? The right is and then to the left is where she goes. So
my understanding of that property, yes, she would have gone right by the door. So what is this? These are two calls, 427:11 and 427:30 outgoing call. But to who?
Well, one of them looks like it's that peekaboo Snapchat again. So maybe these are Snapchats.
Well, it says Apple in-calls outgoing call.
Okay.
And then the second one looks like Snapchat. Oh, are these ones possibly, Andrew, that were deleted?
I don't know. No, you're right. The second one's a Snapchat. But all right. So then there's another one.
It has a size. If you go back up, that first one, let's see, are those the same number? Oh, those are the same number. So maybe
is the first one say outgoing call and the second one says outgoing message?
Yeah, good call. Good catch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then it says peekaboo. So this, right? Does it say? Yeah. So the second one looks like it was some sort of message through Snapchat. The first one looks like it was an incoming call. But because we can also see the size of the files, I'm wondering if they were deleted, but they were still able to get the data from the phone that there was something.
So I have Snapchat, but I probably haven't opened it for years, and I'm the same. No reason to use it. Can you make calls on Snapchat or do any video chats or anything like that?
Snapchat is used by a lot of young people, not like us, Ron. Snapchat is used by a lot of young people to chat, to exchange pictures, and to do nefarious things sometimes. That's what it's used for. I'm not saying that that's what it's used for, but you can Snapchat with the friend and send, pictures. Here's what I'm doing now. I'm in the kitchen making a sandwich, and the friend sends back a picture. Here's what I'm doing now. I'm cleaning my room.
Mm-hmm. But you only get a snap view of it. It disappears, doesn't it?
Yes, that's what I think the whole reason people like it, especially college students, is because if you're doing something nefarious, it's supposed to be arguably the most secretive platform.
It's supposed to disappear. That's the benefit of it, supposedly. But remember, in the Alex Murdoch case, it was the Snapchat of Alex Murdoch down by the dog kennels that pretty much, in my mind, and a lot of people's minds, convicted him. So it does disappear. It does disappear. But if you hire the right forensic analyst, they can dig it out.
Which clearly they didn't, because we don't have that outgoing message.
Yeah, good point.
In this case.
Excellent point. I'm glad I'm told.
But I also wonder if we assume that was saying scared and not screwed, then she's in this state where she's going, okay, now I'm going to go do a Snapchat call and a Snapchat message. You would think it was to someone that, to Kristen's point about it being something that is going to disappear. You would think it would disappear. You would think that you would also have that person in your contacts. And so you're choosing to go the Snapchat route instead of actually calling that person on a regular phone. It seems interesting that while you're in that state of mind, you're like, okay, you know what? Instead of calling this person that I know, I'm going to Snapchat them.
Or call 911.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no 911 calls in here, folks. There's no 911 calls. So
it's like you had every opportunity to call and ask for help or to leave, and she's doing Snapchats.
Yeah, and that's what blows my mind is you see some guy, they're clearly talking about some guy dressed in black in a ski mask in their house. I'm on the phone to 911 immediately.
Well, all of us would have been, but remember that this was a party house, which to me, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't care what people say down in the chats or who says it. That means drug house. So if you're in an altered state of mind, and if there are large quantities of contraband, you might think twice about calling 911. That's my theory. That's all it is my theory and my speculation. But, you know, other people
share similar theories.
Yeah.
So
Andy.
I don't know. This is more, you know, this first one here is also a Snapchat. Then the second one is a call to Kaylee at 4:27, 6 seconds.
This one has 6 seconds.
Yeah.
So that's getting me suspicious. And I mean, I don't know Dylan. I don't know anything about her, but just things like this, it makes me question what was she doing? Like, was she in on some kind of thing? Was she? I don't get it.
Then we jump to 4:26:44 to Xana, call of 3 seconds. Then we have a text at 4:32:58 from Dylan to Kaylee. Please answer.
Now, I have a question here. Go back up.
Okay.
Go back up.
How far?
Keep going to there. No. This outgoing, the one to Xana, it's cut off there at the top of outgoing. So it looks like it was something that was cut and paste or something. This is not the full record then, is it?
No.
And it looks like there's something down below it too.
No.
So we're getting bits and pieces of this, it looks like.
Right.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, in the old days, and you know, Ron, you and I are old enough to remember this. You know, in the old days, you would actually cut something and then put it on a poster board and paste it on there for a jury exhibit. Those days are long gone. Now you can do that if you know what you're doing on Adobe PDF. But so yeah, this whole thing is edited. This is not a business record that has a sequence of actual events. I mean, we've all seen like phone records that go on and on and on, but you can pick and choose with a highlighter the relevant. This whole thing is a cut and paste.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. And to have it attached as an exhibit for evidence, it needs to be authenticated. In other words, Ann Taylor cannot authenticate these phone records. So I'm wondering, because this thing is 49 pages, I'm wondering if there is a full graph later on, and these are just cuts and pastes, because I didn't go through the whole thing.
And if you know, that's a great point, Yolie, because that's how I felt about the DoorDash, you know, whatever we got from DoorDash as well. I was like, this is not a complete record. This looks like it was homemade, cut and paste from an Excel spreadsheet. But I agree. But if you notice, Andy, if you go up to the top from I think it's the first phone or text message to where we're at down there, there's like a 2-hour gap where Dylan does not appear to be making any phone calls or text messages.
How far back am I going here?
Go to like the last, keep going all the way up to the top. I think it's the last phone call or text message. We can get the time off it. It's 2:28, something like that.
I'm sorry, I don't follow you. How am I going all the way back?
Yeah, go all the way to the back. Okay, slow down. Let me see where we're at. Keep going. Okay, slow down. Okay, let's see here. What do we have a time right here somewhere?
4:22.
Okay, keep going. I just wanted to show that there was literally a 2-hour gap on her phone.
4:20, 3:51. That's the contact at 3:51.
That's the one she added. I'm talking about text messages and phone calls, allegedly, not social media or anything.
The first text is at
okay, so right here.
Yeah.
2:10. Okay.
Yeah.
She doesn't have another text or phone call for 2 hours. She goes on social media.
So she wasn't asleep.
Correct.
I mean,
That's to answer your question, Andrew. That's the only thing I really got from these messages is that she wasn't sleeping.
Yeah.
Let's go back to where we were. Yeah. Okay. That's where we left off, I think, right here. Yeah, they're all cuts and pastes, and it makes no sense. And, you know, all of us having spent some time in court know that all this stuff would have to be authenticated. So you would have to bring in, you know, the keeper of the records or someone to verify the authenticity of all this stuff separately. So you'd have reams and reams and reams of paperwork. Then what I'm guessing is that Ann Taylor or her people cut and pasted it as a demonstrative evidence.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
She submitted it as evidence, which is problematic. But before I mean, we're going to go to the end because I want to make sure, because I didn't have a chance to skim through everything.
We're gonna. If you guys have time, we'll do it.
We do. See, the source info, I wonder if that's enough. You know, I'm not a technology person, but the source info that's cited, I wonder if that's enough to authenticate it. I don't think so. But
so here's where we left off. And this was, to me, really very interesting. And I know it's been mentioned before, but here we have her creating pictures. She's the first thing here at 5:02, she's creating a JPG image. Then at 5:02:56, 2 seconds later, she's modifying that same image because it has the same number, 1368. Then 5:17, approximately 15 minutes later, she's deleting a message. HEIC, that's Apple phone's designation for their picture saving technology. Stands for, I'll tell you in a second, because I hate HEICs. I hate them. They're very difficult to save. It stands for High Efficiency Image Codec, and it's the proprietary imagery for Apple iPhones. So she's deleting two photos, 4953 and 4954. Then I need help with this one. A penultimate full size. I don't know.
I looked that up, but I don't remember.
That's an HEIC. Okay, these are Apple photos that were created on her phone.
Video.
The bigger picture, full size.
Yeah, maybe.
No, MOV is the software for videos. HEIC is for stills.
Okay, so she has 2 stills and 2 videos here that were created and modified. Oh,
At 5 in the morning.
At 5 in the morning. That's very interesting.
Yeah, because the whole thing was said to have gone down, correct me if I'm wrong, between 4 and 4:18, 4:20 approximately. Mm-hmm. So an hour later, when she was said to have been in this frozen shock phase, she's there fiddling around with photos and videos and editing them and deleting them and modifying them. Here's another one at 6:19. And look, there's a gap for an hour from 5:19. She doesn't do anything. Then at 6:19, there's an MOV. That's a video. Then at 6:19:05, an hour later, there's JP. So we have more photos. She's creating photos.
And I'm guessing she wasn't taking a cat nap in that hour.
Yeah, it sounds like she didn't sleep the whole night.
Yeah.
So she's taken 3 photos, 4965, 4967, 4968. And she modifies them right away. I'm sure you guys have done that. You know what that's all about. I take a picture of something and I can lighten it. Yeah, I can use a filter to lighten it up or darken it up or crop it. So, but what is she taking pictures of? Movies and stuff like that. Here's another one. She's taking another picture at 6:25. So this is a range of from 5:02 to 6:25, an hour and a half approximately, where she's taking photos, videos, and taking them, modifying them. One of them was deleted, I guess. So
wasn't she allegedly in Bethany's room during this time?
Yes.
Right.
So she's taking a crime scene. What is she taking pictures of if she's sitting in Bethany's room?
Herself? Bethany?
The walls?
What? When they're supposedly scared?
A good forensic analyst should have been able to dig into her phone and find these things. Mm-hmm. And as far as I know, I don't think we've ever seen anything like this, have we?
No, but we've seen them dig into Brian's phone with all the selfies and things like that.
Oh, good grief. Were they? Come on now. You're not telling me the 2 girls are taking selfies in the middle of the night. Or are I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
But you would think that this information would be probative to their investigation as opposed to Brian's selfies.
Yep.
And did they take Dylan's phone right away? Does anybody know? Or
I think they did. I thought.
No,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Several days after, is my understanding.
I thought they did.
Didn't she offer to let them look at it?
Yeah, but wasn't that the second interview?
Could have been.
There's so much I can't remember.
Yeah, so now we're on Instagram. Now we're on Instagram Okay, so we have an hour. What's that? An hour and a half gap from 6:25 until 8:05, approximately an hour and a half. She's on Instagram.
Still 4 hours before we call 911.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is, who knows what this is, but you can do anything on Instagram. It's similar to Facebook, not the same, but you can post stuff. You can DM people. So this is a mystery.
Well, that's a good point too. What if she's DMing people on Instagram?
You see, there's a start time and an end time. So did she start at 8:05:43?
Ooh, and was that a call, Ron? Because you can call people through DMs on Instagram.
True.
And then end.
Yeah.
So that's like 17 plus 17, 30. So half a minute.
Oh, yeah, that's a while.
You can say a lot of words in a half a minute, Kristen.
I can. I talk very, very fast.
Wait a minute, Ron. I'm not
reporters
thinking.
hate me.
Court reporter's
Oh, okay.
dream.
I wasn't following you from. Okay, all right, I get it. 8:05 is the start time, and then 8:06:17 is the end time. Okay, I didn't follow you at first. So yeah, that's what, a minute and 45 seconds, more or less, a minute and a half. Yeah, you can say a lot.
No,
in
half a
and
minute. Yeah, 8:05 to 8:06:17. Yeah, so half a minute.
Okay, they left. We cleaned everything and we got rid of the bleach, and so now it's time for you to come over here and get rid of those footprints. There's still a whole bunch of footprints, and we got to get rid of them.
Hide the chargers. Yeah.
You know, I subscribe to the I subscribe to the tarp theory because
What's that?
There were tarps there that were laid on the floor, because you don't see a lot of, at least that I've seen, a lot of evidence of cleanup on the floors. You see it on the railings and stairs, but not on the floor. So I
thought you were saying tarts, like a sweet tart candy. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no.
I'm sorry. No, that makes sense, because I've always said, why was there only one footprint outside of Dylan? How come there's one footprint and it was right by the edge, just outside of Dylan's door? That made no sense. So I think that's interesting. A tarp theory.
Well, that's what Dexter used to do. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dexter did Serial Unaliver. That was on Netflix, the series.
Okay. All right.
He would put plastic.
Many seasons.
All over, yeah.
But it was your guys' last show that I actually watched. I think it was the one you guys did going through the crime scene. I want to say it was crime scene photos and stuff, but it was actually you guys were talking about, which made the most sense to me, when you were showing how close. Oh my gosh, I really got to figure out my phone. But how close the footprint was to Dylan opening her door. Like,
it was right by there.
You both said it, that it was like, if she's opening, they're nose to nose.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Otherwise it's a contamination of one of the officer's footprints, but it had been sprayed, or that amino acid had been put on it, and it was a latent print. So who knows? I mean, these officers were walking around all over the place, back and forth and back. Like, what are you doing?
Okay, you guys saw that episode. We're going to diverge just for a half a minute. What was it? A smiley face or a curly fry?
I don't know. I go back and forth. I mean, it kind of looks like a smiley face. I mean, and I think you guys said it too. I don't know how you would have got that without intentionally drawing something with your hand. I don't know. I don't think it was a curly fry.
Well, I said it was a smiley face, and some of our commenters really excoriated me. How could you be an attorney and have such a thought? It's so obvious. It's a curly fry. And it's like, you guys had comments like that?
Case, so obvious.
Oh yeah.
And I love when you reminded your viewers that we do all have real jobs during the day as full-time attorneys. So we try to review as much as we can, but that's what the purpose of the comments are, so we can all educate each other.
Right. I would say the majority of the comments that Yolie and I get are very positive. 95% are very positive, but there's always one out there. Yeah. So where were we? So now we're at 8:11. Where did we leave off before? We were at 8:10. 8:06, 8:05. Right. She's making all these photos at 6:25. Then she's inactive from 6:25 to 8:05.
You know what? I remember when we were listening to Dylan's interview with the police. Didn't he just stop the questioning once she told him she went to sleep after Bethany came down? He didn't ask a single question after in that time period. And I remember thinking that's really weird that he didn't even ask her about that. Anything after about 2 or so.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Well, yeah.
So what's she doing here? Did we already do this from 8:05 to 8:06:17?
We
An
did that.
Instagram.
Did
Okay.
that.
We're on
Okay, so here's
8:10.
an 8:10 start time. Okay, from 8:10:54 to 8:11:16. Yeah, Yolie, this really shows your point that it's all edited. It's all edited.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Instagram. Then we go to 8:13 start time to 8:14 Instagram. Probably a call you guys are saying.
Why does it say documents? Instagram documents time. I'm not a
That's
tech.
where it's saved, I think.
You can do documents on Instagram.
Well, it looks like a file, so a documents file.
Or a picture. Could it be a picture run?
It could, yeah. Let me see.
I think so.
40,960 bytes. How many is that? How big is that? I don't even know.
No clue.
Where's
but
Lainey? We need
Yeah,
Lainey. She would have
okay.
the answer to that.
we do need Lainey.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think if you download a document or a picture on your phone and you save it, I think that might be what that tracing is right there.
It looks like the file because it says source file. Then at the end is DB. Is that database? Is it some sort of database?
Probably.
Something?
I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know. We
We
need a
can try
techie.
cutting and pasting that in Google and see what it says.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it because I'm so inefficient at this stuff. I'll lose everybody.
No worries. We could do.
I know.
think
I'll probably cut myself out again. Like
Yolie will tell me in the middle of a show, I will cut everybody out. So, I'm trying to be better than that. All right. So we're at 8:14 in the morning. Instagrams.
And there's another skip. You see the skip there.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where there was something that they didn't include.
Yeah, because it goes from 8:14 to 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
What's she doing for an hour and 45 minutes? And yeah, you're right. Look, you can actually see where they physically cut it.
Yeah.
They physically cut it.
Or that whiteout tape.
Yeah.
Oh, is that whiteout tape?
I think that's what my guess is. That is just whiteout tape right over it.
Because look, the brackets are gone too.
Yeah.
I guess you guys are right. What I thought is, do you have one of those big old-fashioned paper cutters in your office?
Yeah.
Because I've cut documents and then put them together, and that's what it looks like. But I think that's too even and parallel. So
I think that's whiteout tape. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Wow, good catch.
Yeah. All right. But what are they whiting out? Because these two boxes above the whiteout are a start time and an end time, ending at 8:14. Then we have the break, and then it jumps an hour and 45 minutes to 10 o'clock start time. So what could that be in there?
That's a really short, really small entry too.
Yeah. It's one of these things that's not like the others.
Yeah.
Were you fans of Sesame Street?
Oh yeah.
Never mind.
Still am. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it seems, is this a usage log though? Like, is it showing when she's opening the app and then closing it, opening it, closing it, or opening it and going in there and doing something?
I have no idea.
We don't know, but here's.
I don't think we know.
Starts with an end.
Well, just because it physically on the far left column, it says application usage log. So I don't know if that means it wasn't a phone call. I'm using the application.
Go to the left. Try scrolling a little to the right.
Left. Oh.
Or my right. Sorry, your guys is left.
Yeah.
No, the other way. Right? Is that Sam? Was it the other way?
No, he was on it where it physically
okay.
just says application usage log.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I don't know whether it's a phone call, a DM, you're looking at your Instagram or what.
Excuse me.
But it seems like it's picking up when the app is in use in whatever form and then when it's out, in and out.
I think you're right. Because if you look at this one, this top one's Instagram, then it's Snapchat.
Yeah. Then a bunch of Snapchat. So
again.
she's.
These are all Snapchat after that first top one that was Instagram.
Yeah.
bunch of Snapchats right after 10 o'clock in the morning. These are all like 10:01:17, 10:01:24, 10:01:25, 10:01:25. So she's
Still an
active.
hour and a half from calling the police.
Wow.
She is very active. There is no frozen shock phase. There is no sleeping.
Yeah. All
I
morning.
mean, you can have one butt dial, as they call it, but not this many of them. There's no way.
You know, I'm just throwing this out. This is complete speculation and maybe not related at all to this. But if there was someone at a other location that is monitoring what's going on where you are, and you don't want, you know, what you're sharing in the messages to be available, wouldn't Snapchat be a good way for that person to kind of monitor, like, you know, here's what's going here, look at this, we've got this cleaned up, we've got this cleaned up. I'm not saying anything, but you know, I'm just throwing that out.
Updates.
Yeah.
Are you saying that Dylan is just giving these people updates, or they're coming in and getting updates?
What I'm saying is this sort of thing, you know, I'm trying, you know, let's say that somebody is off location who's in charge, and something's going on here that they're very interested in the progress. And you would think that somebody on the location then maybe could Snapchat so you can see, hey, you know, how does this look? How does this look? You know, I don't know. I'm not saying that that's what happened, but that is a possibility consistent with what I'm seeing here. Is a lot of Snapchats going out over you know, this, what's really a large period of time.
Well, I mean, it seems to me like there's a very concerted effort to be on a program like Snapchat when you're supposedly, allegedly scared. I think it's a concerted choice. But then past that, I've noticed that we stopped or abandoned trying to get a hold of Kaylee, Maddie, Ethan, and all these people for hours and hours and hours. We just stopped trying to get a hold of them.
So she definitely knew.
So she was up and awake all this time while her roommates were up in their rooms after being unalived, and she didn't go to this really makes no sense. Her story, I think, is just not credible.
I've always thought that, but this kind of, you know, corroborates that. I've always thought that it made no sense. The frozen shock phase, and it makes no sense. Being asleep makes no sense. She's intentionally manipulating her device. These are no accidents. And what it is, we can only know. What is it? Two girls in their room just, you know, chit-chatting with other people, or as you say, is she like giving people updates? We got the Clorox. Yeah, we got the tarp up. Yeah, you know, I mean, I don't know.
No, but, and I think I think you guys are onto something, because if you look, maybe she has two different people she's reaching out to on different platforms, because you don't want to have too much evidence on one platform, because it goes like Snapchat, and then it goes Instagram.
Yeah. Okay. So now
go to the last one. Go to the last one really quick. Look at Indeed jobs. She's on Indeed at 11:13 on the morning of the unalivings, 10:03. She's on Indeed.
And I don't understand that, because Indeed is largely a job search platform, isn't it?
Yeah, you're looking for a job. You're looking at reviews. You know, it definitely is for helping find a job. Well, why the hell is she on Indeed?
I've posted opportunities for a paralegal, etc., on Indeed.
Same.
But I don't know if it can be used for other purposes. I don't know if it can be used for nefarious purposes. I have no idea. But it's not an application usage log. Look at this. It's cookies. It's cookies.
So, can you communicate via Indeed jobs?
I had that same question, and I did a little bit of research this morning, and I don't have the answer. I don't think so, but I don't.
What if she was messaging? Because I do know employers can ask messages through the app. Like if we have a job listing and somebody wants to DM about the job listing, I do know that exists.
Interesting. But it's just cookies. It's not necessarily a message.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I don't know that it would show up as a message if it's on I don't know. I don't know if Indeed.com is an app or if it's just on the internet.
It's
know.
a social media platform that if I need a new paralegal, which I do, by the way, I go on to Indeed and I open up my account and I post my posting, what I need, how much I'm going to pay. Yes, I want you in the office, not working at home. And then I click it. And then people can ask me questions, how many hours a week. So you can go back and forth on it.
Yeah, you
That's
can also
true.
look at reviews of firms.
Right.
You want to know questions about their culture. What is the average salary for a paralegal in Orange County? But it's all mostly related to businesses, hiring, recruiting, all that good stuff. But it's interesting. What if there was, again, total speculation, like a job listing that there was messaging through? I don't know.
Well, and you wonder, though, this goes back to the kind of you wish you had the entire record thing, because maybe some of this would tell a different story. I mean, I don't know, was the app running in her Safari and she clicked on it again and she had been in Indeed that week and she was looking for a job. If you look back the past week, past month, is this the first time she's ever been on Indeed randomly on this day? I mean, that's the struggle I have with not having a total log.
I agree with you, but it could just be a mistake. She just clicked on the wrong thing. She meant to open the Snapchat app and she accidentally opened the Indeed. I've done that. I mean, I've opened the wrong app, but I don't know. I really don't know.
She supposed to still be in? Was she in Bethany's room all the way up until the point that Hunter and Emily came over?
That's what she said.
No, look
And
at
now
this.
she's
No,
sitting
a
in
whole bunch
Bethany's
more.
room.
Look, here's here's 3 more Indeeds. The first 3 blocks here are Indeeds.
And
So I don't think it was a mistake.
And then myjobs.indeed.
Now, in the middle of this night where all these things happen, she's looking for a job, really?
This is at 10 in the morning.
Yep.
Yeah.
2 hours before she calls 911.
Well, and okay, so I have a question. So if they're in Bethany's room this whole time, does Bethany have a bathroom in her room? I mean, did they ever use the bathroom for 6-7 hours? No one had to get up, wake up. Apparently they're sleeping. No one has to wake up and go upstairs and go to the bathroom.
Especially if they've been imbibing in adult beverages.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now I just had a dent moment, and it might be nothing, but Kaylee had just gotten a new job down in Texas. Are they checking that? Are they checking that info?
Oh, interesting.
Dylan, maybe.
Are they trying to figure out? Where is Kaylee going? What's with this job down in Texas? I mean, I don't know.
Or that job. But
I know her LinkedIn was messed with. Kaylee's LinkedIn was messed with.
Or are you
Olivia say something about it?
Or if you're savvy enough to be on Snapchat because you're trying to be secretive in your communications, are you also knowledgeable enough to know that at some point your phone might be looked at, and so maybe you should do something normal?
And this is at 10 a.m., which
Yeah.
I don't know.
Here's more Indeed. Look at all these Indeeds. There's something to this Indeed. There's really something to this job search platform that they're really spending a fair amount of time on it.
We need a FOIA this, Ron. We need a FOIA the Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, we can't FOIA Indeed. We can only we can FOIA the police department for all the phone records of Dylan, I suppose.
Yeah. What's Ann Taylor's source for all of this? Then we're back to Snapchat. 10 o'clock, 10:04, 10:05. Snapchat, more Snapchat. Snapchat. It's all Snap. She's on Snapchat quite a bit.
Yeah.
11:13, 10:05, 10:19, 10:19. What's she doing in between 10:00? I'm just curious. Between 10:05 and 10:19. 14, 15 minutes. What's she doing?
Going to the bathroom?
I thought we just said she didn't go to the bathroom.
I know.
I don't know. I have no clue. But this is, and she's very busy. She's very busy. 10:05, 10:19, 10:20, 10:20.
All Snapchat.
Yes, 10:20. Bunch of Snapchats. 10:20.
Look at this.
Peekaboo, peekaboo, peekaboo. All Snapchat more.
Yeah.
So this kind of coincides with what had been said by one of the frats that came on that was anonymous. he said there was all kinds of Snapchat activity going on that they knew like at 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. that something had happened. And
what was the guy's name, Mark, that said he got up at like 8 o'clock in the morning because he had to be at work at 9 and he heard people talking about this?
Yeah, that it was all over Snapchat. So
and then they say that Dylan was outside, I think, smoking a cigarette with like 4 other people right out in front of the King Road residence. I think that was between 8 and 8:30.
That was Dot who said that, and I don't know about her credibility though.
Oh, same. If that's where it came from, then that's obviously not credible.
Right. I don't know. But the Snapchats back and forth, and even WSU Kim or WSU Mom, whatever her name is. She had talked about the Snapchats going back and forth. So this is kind of consistent with that.
And look at them all. I've just gone by 3 different pages as you guys were talking, and there's a ton of them. There's a ton of them. Oh, so now we're back to the texts from Dylan to, you said a minute ago there was no concern for the roommates. So here we are at
10:23.
Well,
10:23 in the morning. Dylan to Maddie, are you up?
But here's what I think is interesting about that. That's the first time she texts Maddie that we see. She's texted the other roommates, but so the first time she texts Maddie, the last time she tried to get a hold of Maddie was for 0 seconds on a phone call at 4:21.
Oh, correct. I didn't catch that.
Yes.
Very good observation. That's a great observation. I hadn't noticed that. That's why we need 5 different pairs of eyes here. Okay, so 10:23, she's texting Maddie. More Instagrams. 10:24. Boy, 10 o'clock. She's really busy with
2 Instagrams, and then it goes back to Snapchat.
I mean,
okay.
It's hard to believe that she's still in the room. You know,
agreed.
I just feel like if you thought something had happened, you'd kind of want to go out and see. You wouldn't think that this person, or maybe you would, I don't know, that's still in the house, this man with the black mask or whatever. I don't know. There's something not right about this whole thing. And it's not, and you know what? It's the police's fault because they put those words into her, the frozen shock phase. I don't think Dylan ever said anything about frozen shock phase in her interviews.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah. And so
the eyebrows, she didn't say it either until they put it in her head.
Right, exactly.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on, but it's hard to believe that she was in her room. And
has she
what's the difference between log entries and application use? Does anyone know?
I don't know, but I mean, somewhere she got a charger, right? Because her phone was going to die.
Good point, Sam.
Well, the photos showed a charger in that room, or 2 chargers in that room. So I don't know. That's a good question. What's
one is Instagram, one is Snapchat.
Right.
Yeah, I just didn't know if there was a difference between the 2 description words.
God.
Another whole page of them. I don't know how many pages we've gone by of these Snapchats and Instagrams, but many, many, many. Now we're up to 11 o'clock. Now we're up to 11 o'clock.
Has anyone ever in any interview questioned Dylan about these Snapchats?
Well, in prepping for this today, and I'm like you folks, I'm still a working attorney. I've got a bunch of cases that are just burning a hole in my desk. I wanted to go back and look at not only the interview they did out on the street that morning, but then the police interviews. I just didn't have time, but I think maybe, Yolie, that should be one of our next episodes to go back and I'm not assigning you to do it. I'm saying I would like to go back and look at those. And
there's a possibility that maybe she was questioned about these Snapchats by the FBI. Because we don't have any of the FBI information. And we at least know from one person, I think it was Molly, who said that she had been questioned by some agent, FBI agent, about this. And so we I think it was Molly. Gosh, there's so much to remember. Please don't, if I have it wrong, let me know. But I think there might be a possibility that she was questioned by an FBI agent, but without having those records, I don't know, because the FBI was the one responsible for the phones and, downloading the phones and that kind of thing. And so I think maybe she was questioned by the FBI.
Has anyone done a FOIA request to the FBI? Because I don't think I've seen FBI records.
No, we won't. I don't think we're going to see them.
I was like, I don't think they produced.
No, they're not going to respond to that. They're not going to respond to that because I know
Well,
it's some other cases.
Certainly, if there's not an ongoing investigation, but I know I've seen FBI files being produced before.
Some
There's
FBI,
there's another word for the letter you send to them. It's not on the top of my head right now. Yolie, you might be able to help me. There's another type of request you make to them for federal agencies, which was used in the Karen Reed case with some success, not a lot of success. But yeah, that's a different. They don't respond to FOIAs. I think they have an argument. It doesn't respond to them. It doesn't apply to them. Okay, so now, okay, all right. So here we are. We're up to 11 o'clock. 11:11. Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're talking to other people in the community. I think they're talking to other people in that town.
I think they are too. I think she's talking to Emily Allant and potentially Hunter Johnson. I think there's communication going on back and forth about what's going on in the house.
I thought I saw Emily's name in here somewhere, actually.
Keep going. I think it's when they call her at what is it, 11:20 or 11:55 or something.
Well, we're getting there. We're at 11:29 now. Dylan to Kaylee, are you up? All right.
She'll assume she hasn't seen the red stuff.
And then we have more.
Instagram.
We have more Instagrams at
Snapchat.
11:29, 11:29, 11:30, 11:30. More
log entries
Snapchats. It's hard to keep up. I mean, she goes back and forth. I can't keep up. I can't do these different applications that quickly, but here she is doing them at 11:30, 11:32, 11:32, 11:35.
It was WSU, Kim's mom, saying that all of the Snapchats were going around.
Yeah.
From the
I have a
students
quiz.
talking about that there was a shakedown. She also said that the students knew that there was going to be a quote unquote shakedown happening that night. They didn't hear that it was supposed to go as far as it did, but that there was Snapchats going amongst all the WSU and Idaho students.
Right.
I have one for all of you.
So
Look at the
here's
second.
Yik Yak.
Look at the second from the bottom. We've got Yik Yak. We've got Yik
What is
Yak.
that?
Yik Yak is an application that is very commonly used on college campuses. College kids use it a lot. How do I know that? I have a granddaughter who is in college in Boston, and we were chatting one time. She's really into all this stuff. And she said, "Are you on Yik Yak?" I said, "What's that?" And some of the kids in her class were saying, "Do you know a good true crime podcast?" And so she immediately did two things. She linked my podcast on Yik Yak, but then she also gave me a Yik Yak account, which I haven't used since. So,
Oh, what a good granddaughter.
Is that one of those applications where posting is anonymous?
No, I think I'm pretty sure your name is on it.
Look at it.
So if you're watching, thank you, Gabby. All right. So I think there's only one Yik Yak. I'm not sure.
It is anonymous.
Is it? Oh, it is?
What's it, Ron? What'd you say?
Yik Yak is an anonymous community app for college students that lets you post, comment, and message with your campus. Think campus chatter with real personality and zero name tags.
Oh, I thought my name was on it, but I just know that somebody was looking for a true crimer, and she did. Okay, so then we have what the heck is
Yik Yak? It's only I seem to remember that it only connects to a radius.
Yes, 5 miles.
5 miles.
Yes, you're right.
Okay.
So she's broadcasting something intentional to the college campus because, as we all know, this 1122 King Road was not actually on the campus, but it was right on the edge. So this would go to the frats and the other people. So she was talking to people on the campus at that time.
Well, I mean, in her interviews, she can't keep her mouth shut. She just keeps talking and talking. And I don't know if it was a dream, but she's talkative and talkative.
She's a hot mess, dude. She's a hot mess.
If I'd have represented her, I'd have told her to, well, you know what I would have told her.
That's all damage control there. But if you notice, we got Yik Yak, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram.
Wow.
A lot of them. Look at them all in this time period from 11:30, 11:36, 11:36, 11:36. Look at what happens at 11:35 that all of a sudden she's active on all of these different platforms.
I'm wondering if that's how she's talking to Emily a lot, because it seems to me that she's talking to different sources through the different platforms.
That's kind of what I'm gathering.
But what is she saying? Does she now know that they've been unalived? Does she now know that there's, as you put it, red stuff? We're still not allowed to say blood on YouTube. Is that it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But music, look. Okay, so wait, go up.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that musical.
Okay, yeah, there's another one.
And then light show pads.
Shop pads.
The musical, is that like iTunes or Spotify or something?
It just looks like something associated with TikTok. And these just say she access. So do we know that she's communicating, or is she just looking at TikTok?
Yeah.
I mean, is she scrolling?
And these are just cookies.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm guessing this might not have anything to do with the communication, but all these sites she's on just were injecting cookies. I don't know.
Or she's shopping.
She's just looking at well, it may be ads that go along with it. You know, as I scroll through TikTok, I get shopping ads and stuff.
Yeah. Don't we all? Yeah.
I think she's just scrolling on TikTok. So right here around the time that right before the 911 call is she's scrolling on TikTok.
Look at that, 11:36. She's literally, like you say, Ron. She's scrolling on TikTok, looking at some products, maybe checking out some videos.
Now, you know, my wife sometimes gives me the side eye when we're doing something, watching something, and I'm scrolling on TikTok. But right before making a 911 call after your roommates are unalived,
that you found out there was a quadruple homicide in your house.
Yeah, that's even a little more than I would do. It's
hard to even process.
Look at them all. Look at them
What
all.
was the last one?
Well, we're gonna get to some good stuff after we go through that.
Yeah.
We're gonna see where she starts texting her dad, and her dad wants to just
Right. Yep,
randomly
coming
have
up.
just a check-in call.
Yeah.
Yolie, did you want to say something about this one?
No, I thought I saw something, but it wasn't.
Okay.
That wasn't.
All right. Just more cookies. Cookies.
I'm gonna see if I can cut and paste some of those.
Yeah.
When we're done, and see if I can get anything out of it.
I can send you this file, but you probably have it yourself, don't you?
Yeah, we do. And
Okay.
I think it might have been Jules with True Crime. I want to say I was watching a little bit of her live the other night, and I want to say she was cutting and pasting some of these sources and getting some information.
So I have a question. Do we have any? Dylan at some point called Hunter Johnson and Emily, correct?
11:50. Oh yeah, that was before the 11:55 call. Yeah.
Do we have that in these records, or is it that they were communicated with through some other platform like the Snapchat, etc.?
We still have 7 more pages. I don't know if you can see over in the side here. We're on page 43 of 49.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'm sick of looking at these cookies. I mean, unless you guys want me to stop.
No, she's definitely just talking to. I think she's talking to different sources in each of these platforms. That's a good question, Sam. My guess is she's probably talking to her through Snapchat.
I just would assume. I'm just curious if we have an actual phone call going out.
I think we do. But we're not there yet.
See, there's more cut off at the end there.
So are we still looking at this, or are we done with this?
That says how DM. Look at the part that's cut off.
I think this is the father.
Hey, when can I call?
So there you go.
We're not there yet, are we? Where do you see that?
At the very bottom, the green light is going through it.
It says instant incoming 11/13/2022, and then the phone number you can barely read, but it says how or when. Hey,
I think it's hey.
M.
You see the entirety of that text in the next page.
Yeah, I'm looking at. I know I've seen what you're talking about, but it's not on my screen right now at this second.
One more page down.
And her dad's an attorney, right?
I just what?
Isn't her dad an attorney?
Oh, that's it. That's it right
dentist.
there.
No, that's Bethany's dad's a dentist.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Here we go. I want to say Dylan's dad's an attorney.
No, I don't think he is. I think his ex-wife, Dylan's, or his wife is an attorney. I'm not
So
sure.
I'm trying to get this in a position where we can all read it, and I'm having trouble with my little screen.
Okay, so
Here we
scroll.
go. All right, so here we are. This is what you're talking about before. This is Dad, Dylan's father, to Dylan at 11:39. Hey, DMM, when can I call you today and just chat? Does 1 o'clock work, or is 2 o'clock better? Okay, and then we have Dylan, and again, I'm trying to get my screen so we can see it all. So then we have 11:39:42. Dylan to Dad, 2 works better. And then Dad says, okay, I'll call you at 2 o'clock, just 5 to 10 minutes. Want to catch up.
Sorry, Dad, can't talk. There's been a quadruple homicide in my house.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is so weird. It doesn't, it just doesn't make sense. Does she know? I mean, obviously at 104:21, she knows.
So now here's Jenna. Who's Jenna? I forget.
She's the one that was in that Prime documentary. And isn't Bethany married Jenna's brother, or she's engaged? Bethany's engaged to Jenna. Isn't her last name McClure?
McClure, I think. McClure.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
MCLURE.
Okay. So
And that's
Jenna to Dylan at, they've jumped ahead. Oh no, that's the read time. That's the read time, 2:12.
Oh, yeah.
Bro.
11:50 it says on the
11:50.
bottom, right?
Oh, okay, you're right. 11:50. So we're getting close to the 911 call.
Just such casual, nonchalant conversations before we
Yeah.
call 911 to say we had a quadruple homicide.
That doesn't make
And then
any
there's
It doesn't make any sense, Yolie. It doesn't make any sense.
more Instagrams at 11:44, 11:45, 11:47, 11:47. We go on Facebook. Now we're on Facebook.
7
11:40.
minutes before we call 911, let's go take a deep dive on Facebook real quick.
11:48 Instagram. And most Facebook is just frivolous stuff. It's just, look at my dog. Look at the meal I'm having.
But
Frivolous
you
stuff.
can DM. They have the whole messaging.
Yes, I know.
Facebook and the DM.
Yeah, I know. I've DM'd people. Let's
You're not
see.
asking. You're not asking
You're-
for
you're
news,
just-
are you, Andy?
You're just trying to sound younger than you really are, huh?
Yeah.
What was the other question? No, I like Facebook. I really do.
Look at him.
There's interesting stuff on Facebook. But a lot of it's
No, there
garbage.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we go up to 11:50, and then what's this? I have to adjust the screen again. I have
I
this
think
little
this is-
teeny.
This looks like the call to Emily.
There you go.
Yeah, there it is, Emily.
But then
There
my
it is.
question here is, so you make the decision to call Emily for 1 minute and 48 seconds, but you didn't try one more time to contact any of the roommates? You didn't decide to call them
They
at all?
knew. They had to have known.
Did they know? Or go upstairs and look.
Well, it just I think DM's protected somehow, and the court
agree.
called her a victim. So I'll say, whatever to that. She's a victim in the court's eyes. But I don't know what this protection is, but
Do you
nobody
think
should be
that she
harassing her,
was,
by the way.
Do you think she could have been a CI or something involved with the investigation?
I don't know. I mean, it just seems really strange.
It does
Now here's
matter.
Jenna. Here's Jenna again at 11:51.
Okay,
Do you-
so you remember when Bethany said that a week before she got scared with noises at the house when she was home and her friend came and got her in the middle of the night? That was the same girl.
Jenna?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Jenna's like, do you guys need me to come get you?
So clearly they were communicating on a platform about what
So
she saw.
11:54, we're back on Instagram multiple times. 11:54. Oh boy, look at them all. 11:57:01. And that, my friends, is the end.
And there's nothing. What's at the end of this document?
That's it. That
Okay,
is it.
so-
I just showed you everything. I can bring the little slider over and show you the other, but that it ends at 11:57. Now, my question is this. Okay, we've just taken a deep dive into 49 pages of this. This is attached to Ann Taylor's filing. Take a step back. How does this help Ann Taylor? What is this being introduced to prove?
So I have the whole document right here. It's the Exhibit 1A in support of the affidavit and objection to the state's motion in limine regarding text messages and testimony.
Yeah.
So the state is trying to exclude text messages and so forth, right?
Okay.
The state is. So she's trying to get them in.
Yeah, that was my inference.
So there's going to be some discussion on why they're relevant, and I would think they'd be highly relevant.
Well, it's also impeachment, even if depending on what she says, if she says she was sleeping, it's also impeachment for her. I mean, they can use them for impeachment purposes, but I think at the end of the day, in all the interviews, it's eventually clear that she was not sleeping the whole time.
Yeah.
If at all.
Yeah, it blows the probable cause affidavit out of the water.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not that the probable cause affidavit ever would have even been introduced into the trial.
But the basis to arrest him was based in large part on Dylan's statements, and her statements are not what is in the probable cause affidavit. So if you have an officer who is putting statements attributed to Dylan in quotes, frozen shock phase, I would think that is a lie, in my opinion. I don't know, but I never heard her say frozen shock phase. I believe it was in quotes. I remember that, but I could be wrong. But still, the basis in that probable cause affidavit, a lot of it is not true. So
no, a lot of it is not true. And a lot of it is like inferences, like they mentioned the word stalking once and they never, draw any conclusion as to whether or not there was stalking. I mean, the whole thing was just thrown together hurriedly.
So I guess what they're trying to do is say that, they already had the DNA match when they did the probable cause affidavit. So why did they have to include all of that about Dylan if the DNA was a match and that's enough?
I don't know.
I think I would probably, if I was the defense attorney, I would probably try to use this to cast doubt on the legitimacy of the investigation, to show that the police officers did not follow up, especially if the questioning of Dylan stops at 2, with when she told him I went to sleep at 2 or whatever. And so, well, we have here a long list of communications and phone activity that was going on throughout this entire time, and you didn't follow up on that?
Yeah. Well, it blows a lot of the investigation out of the water. It really does. First of all, if you look into the diagnostic statistical manuals, which the professionals will say rule, there's no such thing as a frozen shock phase. So the whole thing was just kind of made up. It was just kind of thrown in there. And it would be good cross-examination material for law enforcement.
We've talked a lot about the potential fruit of the poisonous tree based on the potentially fabricated PCA.
Mm-hmm. And, there was the Franks motion, and that certain parts need to be unsealed, which we've gone now from unsealing certain things to sealing them back. And then now we're going even back further to when the restitution hearing was had. Now the judge is making public documents after Brian Coberger pled guilty. So I don't know if that's a stall tactic I never knew how they were going to accomplish that, because he was going backwards, right? In making the documents public. So
at one point I did a calculation. I looked at how many documents had been released with respect to the judge's very slow procedure, and I divided that into how many total documents there are, and my calculation was they won't be done with this process until December of 2027. So I need to recalculate that, but I think it's going more slowly. Yolie, I asked you a question yesterday. I tried to go into the Idaho cases of interest file, and the link for 2026 wasn't working. So I can't get any 2026 documents at all. Is it just me? I tried it on 2 different computers in my office, or have they sealed everything in 2026?
I haven't tried it. What I did was I sent you the one that I downloaded.
Thank you.
And it says new on it. You have to scroll through all the documents and then it'll say new in red. And that's a problem I have with this case. It's not very easy to follow. And I don't know if that's purposeful, but you should be able to follow a case and not have so much trouble. It shouldn't be so difficult to follow a case.
So let me ask Sam a question. Sam, I want to ask you a question. A lot of people told us, leave it alone. He pled guilty. It's all done. You know, why are you still on this case? Sam, should we walk away like some of our commenters have said, or should we stay on it like our other commenters have all said?
Well, I think we should stay on it because there's more to look into. And I think that just because somebody pleads guilty doesn't necessarily mean that that's A, what happened, or B, that there's guilt, or that there couldn't be an alternative thing that actually unraveled in this case. And everything that I've looked at really doesn't indicate to me that the state story adds up to any of the evidence that we've seen. So that's kind of my thought.
I would agree. Kristen, let me ask you a question. And my question would be, if you agree with Sam, what is the biggest question that you have about this case that makes you feel that all five of us should stay on it?
What did Maddie tell Adam?
Oh, that's a good one.
Right?
What's your thought on that?
Yeah. I think it has something to do with drugs. Somebody opened their mouth. I think somebody was saying too much. I don't know. There's just so many red flags for me in this case. It's hard to follow. And I'm glad to see more people opening their eyes and actually putting in research and analysis for themselves. And I appreciate that. And you guys have done a great job really educating on so many of the documents. And I mean, I watch every episode you guys put out. I think you guys do a great job.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
And the more experts and attorneys that join us, the better. And we don't all have to agree. Everyone has their own opinion, but we can certainly be kind to each other. But if you don't see one red flag, I'm concerned for you.
And we need more people that aren't down in the tunnels. I mean, you know about the tunnel channels that just, they go crazy and everything like that. But I was talking to another creator who I really like, who's a non-attorney. And he and I both agree it was a drug house that attracted criminal activity. And that has a lot to do with it. Ron, what do you think about that?
That's where my mind keeps going back. I think it's something like that. You know, the bottom line here is I am growing more and more convinced that Brian could not have done this on his own with all the evidence that's coming out, if he did it at all. And that raises some serious questions. I've seen, over the years, I used to practice civil litigation like you a little bit. And I have deposed police officers. We've gotten into that sort of thing. And the thing that really I have a hard time is corruption in the system, because it undermines everything that we do as lawyers. You know, it's really hard for me when we get I take a family law case and we get a bad decision. And the first thing that my client asks says is someone paid off the judge. I'm like, well, that doesn't happen here and everything. And really, for the most part, we're good. We know where some of the corruption is here. But
although there was just a really big Orange County judge arrested for fraud.
Yes.
Really?
For workers' comp fraud in Orange County.
Yes. That was going on for years and years. And now he's heading to prison.
Yep. Federal prison.
Yeah. But everything I'm seeing on this points to, are the cops up there incompetent, or is there something more nefarious? And that's the question. And either one of those answers, whichever it is, that's a huge public safety issue to me. And so even though I'm not, I don't live in Idaho, I had some friends when I was in college who were from Moscowidaho. I have family that live up towards that area. I want to believe that our law enforcement are on the up and up. And unfortunately, over my career, I've seen too much indicating that a lot of them are not. And so I think it's important that we keep asking these questions so that we can root out some of these issues, whether it's law enforcement in Idaho or in Orange County or wherever. I think it still affects all of us.
There's a case in Mississippi right now. I've been looking into it to do a podcast, but I'm not sure. Have you heard of the case where 20 plus law enforcement officers in Mississippi have been indicted for various crimes related to helping drug dealers move their drugs around? 21 of them, they were helping the dealers move their drugs as far away as Miami, Florida, and large amounts of money, $25,000 that the law enforcement officers have been allegedly accused of pocketing in order to help these drug people.
Would not be surprised, but I'm going to look into that. Sounds like a good case to follow.
Mississippi, yeah, I wish I had the site for you, but it's in Mississippi. If you just Google, drug police indictments Mississippi. If you can't find it, hit me up, Kristen, and I'll send you a link because I have done some research on it. They retracted a couple of the indictments, but it's still pending. But it's really sad. The other thing I would point, and it may have nothing to do with this case. It may have nothing to do with this case, but there's a great book, and we just talked to the author, Howie Carr. He's a syndicated Boston talk show guy, and he wrote a book called Mass Corruption, and it documents not only the Karen Reed case, but years and years and years and years of corruption in the Massachusetts State Police. And there's more. There's a couple more cases that are just happening now. But it's Ron, I'm like you. I want to believe that everything is on the up and up. I actually have extended family members and clients who are law enforcement. So I don't want to paint with a broad brush, but it's just jaw breaking when it happens. I want to believe the system's okay, but
yeah,
I don't.
One of the things I have a problem with, and I have family who have been in law enforcement as well, and I have and clients, and I have lots of respect for them, especially for the ones who are not corrupt. What I have a problem with is the ones who are not corrupt who protect the ones who are. And there seems to be too much of that. I'll tell you, I did something just this morning before coming on that in 30 years I've never done. I reported an attorney to the state bar.
Oh my goodness.
Mostly because there's a new California rule that requires us to, but it was this attorney sent a letter that I think is criminal extortion to my client.
Oh my goodness.
I had to do it, but I've never done that, but
you have a duty.
I gladly do it because we need to police ourselves. The police need to police themselves. And what I would say to any law enforcement who are listening, who don't want to cross that thin blue line, the fact that it's there is a problem. And if you're not going to police yourselves, then someone has to. And I'm perfectly willing to be part of that, and I'll do it for my own. I'm as hard on corrupt and unethical lawyers as I am on corruption and unethical conduct anywhere else. And I think that's where this is. There's too much of it in the world, and so this is an area where maybe we can have an impact. And as we keep this alive, maybe someone will get to the point where they look into it and find it. And get to the bottom of this, because what I do know, I don't. Brian, the story doesn't add up.
No,
and
it doesn't.
I think he was probably involved in some way, but what it means is somebody's gotten away with a lot in this, and
nobody's looking into it. There's no subsequent investigation. Everybody's just like, oh, okay, we're all done. He did it.
Never was. And the way they minimize the drug issues, the way they minimize the alternate perpetrator theory, it just seems very calculated and intentional.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I know that it's hard to get an alternate perpetrator theory into court in Idaho, but I think even beside that, the issues that were before the court, like the affidavit where the judge had transcripts of Dylan, where the judge could have looked at the affidavit and could have looked at Dylan's testimony and said, she, no. But the judge chose to ignore that and hang his hat on IGG, just a match that was a match. It was a match or a tip that led to Brian Coberger. The tip was Brian Coberger. Go check him out. So what they did was they went over there, they got his father's DNA in the trash, they brought it back.
The Dunkin' Donuts lid, right?
Yeah, I mean, come on. Like, who does that? I mean, why go through all of that? Okay. Why go through all of that? And why go break down his doors when he's jogging around the neighborhood? He's going to CVS. I mean, the Lisk killer was arrested in front of a store in downtown New York or wherever he was.
Manhattan, right in broad daylight in Manhattan on a busy day.
Very peaceful. They had DNA on him. So what was this big operation?
Well, do you guys believe that the FBI task force had something going down with respect to the Northern Idaho fentanyl trade that was going on? It's my understanding they had put up a task force and they were in Moscow for about 6 months, 8 months leading up to the crimes.
I heard that too, but I don't know. I really don't know.
Look,
if you haven't watched True Crime Design, does a phenomenal job with some of those Northern Idaho drug issues. She does the
FBI doesn't want to do anything unless they have a 99% chance of victory in the case. They don't want anything to do with it. So unless they really nail it, unless they really have good informants, good witnesses, solid evidence, they might investigate the thing for years, but unless they have all of those elements, they're not going to do anything with it. They're just not. So
I don't know if you guys watch The Lincoln Lawyer. I watch it.
I do.
Okay.
Watching it right now. Yeah.
I just watched the whole season last weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. The last episode of this season reminds me of what's happening in the Coberger case. I don't know if you watched the last episode.
I did, where he actually he makes the DA and the specific DA apologize, say they had the misidentification and they got it wrong.
Or because there was another investigation going on.
The FBI. Yeah.
So I don't know. It just reminded me of.
You know what? That's a really good point. I didn't think about that. But they basically said, spoiler alert if you're going to watch the show, but they basically said, hey, we can't come out and tell the whole world he didn't do it because it's going to destroy our years-long investigation that's going to take down some of the highest people that are involved with the criminal activity worth, millions and billions of dollars.
It should be destroyed in that instance.
You guys have been great in giving us all of this time. Yolie and I have this feature where we actually look at our viewer comments. I don't know if you want to go along for a ride with us through 5 viewer comments, or do you have to move on?
Yeah, no, we're good.
All right, so thank you for agreeing to stick around while we look at our viewer comments. Let's see what we have this week.
This is from Gwen ARL. No way did one person do it. It was 3-4 and a pew-pew was used. I believe he was threatened if he talked to his family would suffer more and more.
That's kind of like what you were saying, Ron.
Yep. I don't think, I just don't think it's physically possible in the time given. And I think what clinched it for me is the evidence that there was a cleanup afterwards. So according to the official story, he would have been the one that would have done that cleanup, at least wipe down the railings and stuff. There's not enough time in the window given. So I don't think he could have done it on his own, if at all.
And WSU seems to believe that that's possible too.
Yeah, the GUN?
No, someone else was involved.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree with you. And I think the GUN, I think from the very beginning when they filled out that form, when they were trying to get information, I think it was digital or IT information, they were looking for more weapons than just a knife. And since we've never actually recovered the alleged weapon, I do think there is evidence that tends to support that there was other weapons used.
Okay, I have a question for all of you, and I kind of asked it previously, but I've only been doing this for 3 years, and when I first started doing it, I knew nothing at all. Not that I know a lot more about it now, but when I first started doing it, I learned this new word that is not a word, unalived, and I was told that you're not allowed to say murder. You're not allowed to say murder. Now, I've heard apparently that you are allowed to say murder now, but what about GUN and blood? I say those words all the time. You're not allowed to say those words? Is that it?
I don't know. I just know that Alicia, who helps us out with the production and the mild editing that we do, she always yells at me if I say blood, and so now I just try to say red stuff.
Right.
I think it's
But
more
I hate to say
TikTok.
it, it's like you're not giving the whole picture when you say red stuff. It is blood.
No, I
Yeah.
know. I forget the case. It was that woman in the Southwest that was, all hunky dory, all a family woman. Then she got caught leaving her kids out in the desperate. It was that case. And I was actually reading a court document, and naive me, I just read the document, and it had the words that start with SA, and YouTube demonetized me just for that episode because I didn't know.
Wow.
So that was my introduction to this whole thing. I learned the hard way.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
know about that one.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, kind of one of my pet peeves. I was an English major.
Okay.
And I also grew up very religious, where we were not allowed to say certain words. And that never made sense to me because words are words. They,
Right.
you say what describes either what you see, you feel, you believe. And I understand there are circumstances, like there may be things I wouldn't say in court because, it's a little more formal. But I have an issue with any sort of censorship like this. I think if you have to use an alternate word, are you really? I mean, is it really effective? Because everybody knows what you're thinking.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. And murder, two things about that word. First of all, it's a legal technical word in statutes in all 50 states.
Yeah.
That's number one. And number two, if there's a concern about sponsors, do you remember the old Angela Lansbury series, Murder, She Wrote? And I never heard that the network had any trouble at all finding sponsors. So, I mean, I don't know. And the other thing is that when I got out of high school, I was a rebel. I was not going to go to college. So I worked in a warehouse loading dock for a year and a half, and I dealt with the truck drivers. And so, the language that I learned quite well. And my parents were aghast that, I could use the F word about 5 times in every sentence, at least. I mean, the truck drivers come and you got to unload my truck as fast as you can. So I could talk like that, but there's no call for it here. But anyhow, I digress. Who do we have for comment 4? I forget.
Kristen.
Okay, next one. This is from Smiling 420. The Idaho 4 case was a mess. No wonder he couldn't get a good night's sleep.
And that's referring to Chief Fry.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I was like, who are we talking about here?
Yeah, that was referring to Chief Fry because he had admitted that he made a mistake in waiting to give a press conference for 3 days.
Yeah, actually,
that's it.
Yeah, I just did a post on that
Mistake.
last night saying, "Oh, I bet you have a whole lot more regrets there, Mr. Fry."
Yeah, that was a real clickbaity title that they had. Chief Fry admits mistakes, and it's like, oh my gosh, because we could all guess about 12 of them probably, and that was it. That was the mistake. Holy moly!
And it is a mess, Smiling. It is a mess.
Yeah. All right. At Mike Nugent, Ted's cousin, I guess. Chief Fry is now the police chief in Richland, Washington. His wife is the clerk of the district court in Moscow. Nothing to see here. Move along. The car they cited as BK's car had fog lights. BK's car does not have them.
Good point.
Yeah, and that whole area, that's like honestly, that's kind of like San Bernardino and Riverside here, where they're technically different counties and different cities, but it takes me 12 minutes to get from the courthouse in Riverside to the courthouse in San Bernardino. It's all kind of one thing, and they're all intertwined. I agree with the fog light thing. I don't know why that wasn't brought up during the trial, or if it was, what happened with it. But if I base my case on his car is in this video, and someone tells me that car has fog lights, his doesn't have fog lights,
that's a big detail. That's definitely a big detail.
Well, and I was never able to decipher anything about the white car. It's just a white car to me.
Yep. And there's a million of white cars.
I can't.
Well, especially on those cameras, those nighttime cameras, everything looks like a white car.
Yeah.
And
Good
Sam
point.
made a good point when we were talking about that not too long ago. One, when DA was boots on the ground, devil's advocate, we got to see firsthand just how many white compact cars were in that immediate area. I mean, it was tons. But when they were going through his car, they took the seats out. I mean, they really went through this car looking for DNA and evidence. How would it not be noticed that there was fog lights or there wasn't fog lights? I don't get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Lady Juicy or Juzzy. In addition, Fry saying he wished he came out in the first 6 to 8 hours with information. The world wishes the 911 call was made 6 to 8 hours earlier.
Amen.
No doubt.
Good point. And the stuff that we just spent an hour and a half reading doesn't answer that question at all, unless I've missed something.
No, it just tells us she was on Snapchat like 6 minutes before.
Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, Yik Yak, all of them. It's just crazy. All right. So number one is from Montana Lil. Hey, Montana Lil, the BK case makes me sick. All the DNA was not tested. And what investigator in their right mind passes up blood on a fixed surface for a few skin cells on a movable object? The simple fact that the sheath was tested twice when it's a destructive test should have raised way more questions for the public. Crazy.
So I know that the DNA was resubmitted.
Yeah.
So when she says it's a destructive test, I mean, I guess it destroys whatever DNA.
Mhm.
It limits the amount of DNA that can be tested because you're resubmitting it. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a sample size.
And
There's a
I think it was
sample
also my understanding that Othram did not get
The sheath.
the sheath. Yeah, they didn't get the same. I don't think they got the hit for BK, and then isn't it ISP that did it that actually got the hit, right?
The FBI, ISP, somebody got the hit. Yeah.
The whole thing seems a little sus to me.
Well,
Yeah.
From the very beginning, when they labeled him a fugitive, and they had a fugitive warrant for him in Pennsylvania.
And you know what? One of the best comments I've ever read on any of these shows we've been doing is if he really did this, participated in it, none of us have any personal interest in wanting to save him personally. I think it's just for the cause of bringing light to, that the truth should come out. But someone said such a great point. They said, if he really did this, why in the heck would he drive cross country? I think it was Birdie. Why would he drive cross country in the most wanted car in America all the way from Washington to Pennsylvania if he really did it or had a huge part of it? And I go, you know what? That makes perfect sense. Like, why would you drive in a white Hyundai across how many states in the most wanted car in the country?
That's a really good point, especially since, he was a criminology student. He knew a lot about the subject. And, they have those cameras everywhere,
Yes.
all across the country. They have those intersection cameras everywhere. And police have license plate scanners. So,
Yes.
What a risk. What a risk that he was taking by driving across country.
I agree. It's stuff like that just kind of makes you scratch your head and go.
There's a lot of head scratchers. So when we get to the end of these episodes, what we do is we point out that we would like people to subscribe. I would ask my viewers to please go over to the Custody Queens and subscribe to their channel, subscribe to our channel. A really weird thing has been happening lately that we've been losing subscribers. I think the YouTube algorithm or someone just knocks people off. So if you subscribed in the past, do us all a favor and go down and double check and see if you're still subscribed, because they do knock people off. The other thing I do is I point out that we don't do sponsorships. Do you guys do sponsorships at all?
No.
No. So what I ask people to do is I just emphasize, please subscribe. And I have the characters from the Karen Reed trial emphasize that a subscription is free.
You pay for a subscription?
I do not.
Ask it differently. I'm going to allow that.
Well, you know now because you follow. You pay for a subscription?
I do not.
Did you get one for free?
Yes. I was not paying to any social media.
All right, Mr. Brennan.
Sorry, I have just a few more questions.
It's denied.
I was not paying to any social media.
Okay.
The other thing we do at the end of every episode is that we ask people if you have listened to us for the whole episode, which, oh my goodness, this has been a long episode for us anyhow. Leave an emoji. Does anybody have an idea for an emoji we should suggest to our viewers to leave?
Phone.
Phone.
That's a good one, Yolie.
A phone. All right. I got to thank all of you personally for hanging with us for so long. Sam, Kristen, and Ron, thank you so much. I had no idea that this episode was going to go so long. Our episodes are usually a lot shorter. And so this is, I had no idea it was going to go that long, but you guys all had some great comments.
Yeah.
And it was 49 pages.
It was nice connecting with Southern California attorneys
Yes.
who don't do criminal law per se and are interested in this case.
Thank
Because I
you.
always felt, I felt like an outcast, like, gosh.
Well, I feel left out here because you guys are all in beautiful sunny California, and I'm up here in the snowstorms and the blizzards of New England.
I'm gonna go jump in my jacuzzi later today, Andrew, because it's about
Thanks.
90 degrees here.
Thanks a lot.
Fire up some steaks, barbecue.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate that. I'm going to go home and, probably cook something on my George Foreman grill. How's that?
Well, thank you so much for having us. We're huge fans. We've been following you guys for a while, and we look forward to another one soon.
I owe you. I'm sorry this went so long, but I owe you. Thank you. If I can ever do anything for you or you want anything from us, let us know. Thanks all. Have a good one. Whether you are in the grocery store, the gas station, or anywhere else, please remember to be kind to people. You don't know what they're going through. And the same goes for our comments section. We want you to comment, but be nice, be kind, be positive if you can. And thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Have a good one.